let's get into some of these hot topics, man. I had to bring you on, man. Welcome back, people, to the Best of Seven Sports Talk. We got Miss J in the building joining me. Jay, I tagged you into a tweet from Lisa Leslie, man, saying that the WNBA told her not to make a big fuss out of the Brittney Griner detainment. What you think about that comment? I'm hearing other WNBA players was told to kind of be silent when it comes to this matter. Brittney's facing 5 years in a labor camp. This is not even a regular jail in Russia. She's facing 5 years in a labor type of jail. So this is a big deal. What you think about Lisa Leslie saying the WNBA told her to keep it quiet?
It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. Like, who thought that Brittney Griner having vape cartridges would land her where she's at, you know? And a lot of the players spoke on saying they travel and sometimes they get stuff in wherever they play at, or they leave stuff in their bags, and they've never had an issue. But now Brittney Griner has this issue, but some people are saying it's more than just she's a WNBA player. She's lesbian also. And then U.S. and Russia are having issues. So it's too many parts with it. You're right, Ms. J. There's a lot of elements. At the end of the day, though, I think the timing with this thing is crazy because, like you said, you hear athletes talk about they bring weed in or paraphernalia in and out of different areas and never get caught up. The timing of the issue with Russia and Ukraine, it just was a bad, it was just off for her going into an airport. They're going to be doubling down, checking everything. So, Brittney should have been smarter when it comes to that notion. But what she is suffering so far, what she's facing, and the lack of attention that she's getting over here in the States when it comes to the media is really ridiculous to me. Like, nobody's talking about this story. Like how some people will speak out against certain things. I think people don't want to be blackballed in a sense. It like if they're pressing on it too much with it, they're fearing of not having a job, getting blackballed, and then it's like, okay, I went through all this, and it's like, who else is gonna get on the wagon with me and like speak out? Like on social media, I've seen several NBA and WNBA players say things in regards to free Brittney Griner.
Free Brittney, yep.
But it's like, you can't really go detail into it. Now, the WNBA players have known for weeks with this happening. They've known. As far as like the world is just finding out. But the WNBA players as a whole, they said they knew from the beginning.
This happened in February.
Yeah.
The reports didn't come out to the most until the beginning of March. But you're right. They were already aware of that.
It's bad handling on Russia's part, and it's bad handling on the U.S.'s part, as far as like her agent, the WNBA, Kathleen Ingberg, and how you handle some of these situations. You guys say you're in communication, but it's like, what are y'all doing to get her back here?
But I got to talk to the bosses, Jay. You got to explain to me, how does somebody get blackballed for speaking out on this situation? Because this is not an in-house scenario. This is Russia versus the United States, if you want to put it basically in that.
They'll
sense.
say, "Oh, you're being too like political." You know how they go with some people when they give their opinions on certain topics.
That's
like
crazy,
LeBron. Bro. LeBron gives his opinion on something, and then he'll tweet it, and they'll say, "Well, what gives you the right to speak on whatever?" That's what it's going to end up being. I'm waiting for somebody who has a platform that's on a show to speak out and say what needs to be said. Candace Parker would be the perfect person, in my opinion, because she's on there with Charles Barkley. She's on there with D-Wade. You got Shaq. You're on one of the highest platforms and on TV to speak and say something as far as Brittney Griner.
Right.
ESPN is another one. You guys are not speaking on it.
What do you think about Lisa Leslie speaking out on this matter? Do you think she's going to face some backlash?
It's going to be some backlash. It's going to be some. It may, but then it may not, because she spoke on it vaguely and politically correct in what she said. So she spoke on it, but she didn't speak on it, and she's not pinpointing or naming names. So that's where I don't think she's going to have a backlash from it. I think it depends on who says it. Who
I'm gonna
says
keep
it
it
and how
real.
respected is their opinion.
I'm
That's
gonna
why I
keep
say
it a
Candace
buck, Jay.
Parker would be perfect.
This to me is live. We talking about life and death in a sense, man. Like this is not a average military average jail sentence that she will be facing or dealing with in another country at that. Nope. Russia's never been the best friends of the United States. Like she has nothing invested that they would treat her good or, you know what I mean, give her any special treatment. Nope. And the fact that there's not enough exposure being talked about or that she's still not here, it scares the hell out of me. I mean, and then you brought up the fact about, you know, her sexual preference and all that, like all that is playing a role, but you don't even see the LGBT community really like speaking out on this publicly, consistently. Like I don't hear no one talking about the Brittney Griner situation in the masses. And it makes me feel like, you know, like Lisa Leslie said, people are being advised not to say much. And I'm just like, why not?
It's like, you hate to say it, but it's like people pick and choose who you want to help, who you want to back, because LGBTQ plus should be the main ones fighting.
Yes. And should have everybody backing them. That community.
Why are you guys not?
The WNBA, the NBA. There's so many different pockets of communities that should be speaking out, and no one is talking. And nope. I'm clueless on why.
I want to say everybody wants to be politically correct, and you don't. And it's like the people that are outspoken on all the rest of the issues. Mm-hmm. She's one of your own, as far as the WNBA. Why are you guys not being overly outspoken about this? Unless your teams have advised it, and this is coming per top of the food chain for the WNBA. That's the only thing I could see. But as far as like Lisa Leslie speaking out on it, you don't have too much to lose. You're not a player in the WNBA right now. So that's what I'm saying. Her, Renee Montgomery, you own the Atlanta Dream. You would be a great person to speak on behalf. And some of these other people that have platforms, use your platforms.
I'm going to keep it a buck. I'm going to keep it real. I'm going to tell you the problem. One of the problems. This country that we live in, this United States of America, the people inside of this country are so racist. They don't forget anything. And this is why I'm saying this. I did a video on an update on Brittney Griner when this thing first had happened. Mm. And if you go to the video, just look at the comments of what people are saying. Good for her. Brittney Griner, I think, spoke out against something going on in the United States. I don't know if it was a long time ago or recent. And everyone in the comment section kept referencing, like, I bet Brittney loves America now. This is what she gets, this, that, and the third. And I'm sitting here reading all these comments. And I'm like, bro, how would you feel if one of your family members was in Russia right now in the middle of a war, being detained for weed, vapes, and cartridges? Like, you know what I'm saying? They're talking about being facing 5 to 10 years in a labor prison. Like, it's unacceptable, bro.
It's unacceptable. But I salute to everybody who is speaking their piece.
Yes.
I understand you guys, your hands are tied to a sense, and you have to be really politically correct in even the tweets that I'm reading. But you guys are saying free Brittney Griner. I've seen that all across Twitter and social media. So it's not that you guys aren't supporting. It's just that somebody's got to jump out there and really say what needs to be said, and not fear some backlash. That's what.
Let's get into the next topic. The NBA MVP race. It's getting kind of good. Before we even talk about who you think is going to be the MVP this year, Ms. J, Frank Vogel went on record yesterday. Feels like LeBron James is having an amazing year, an MVP consideration type of year. The Lakers have just not played well at all.
No.
Like, you know what I'm saying? LeBron has had, when you look at what LeBron has done, he's putting up MVP numbers.
Yeah, isn't he leading the league in scoring?
He's leading the league in scoring. He's just playing outstanding basketball consistently at that. But the problem is, how much value is there? Because the team really ain't winning. You know what I'm saying?
There's no value. They're probably at best the eighth seed going into the playoffs, in a play-in.
Right now, they like the 10th seed. They're in the last spot,
yeah,
and they clinging on to the play-in position. They clinging on.
LeBron's averaging 30, leading the league in scoring, but yet you guys are in the 10th seed that have to play in to make it in the playoffs. But you want LeBron to be considered for MVP. I get Frank Vogel's point, but we're always going to talk about, well, what you're doing helping to benefit the team to win. And at this point, it's not really benefiting the team.
Frank is saying whatever he has to do to save his job. This is just a kiss-ass moment for LeBron James. This is it. He got to go. He got to go, Jay.
Now. He's got to go. You won a championship with them. You were hell-bent on getting Russell Westbrook. The experiment with him hasn't really worked. Anthony Davis being injured, everything's been around. At this point, I blame the Lakers organization. You could have had DeMar DeRozan. You could have had Damian Lillard. You could have had a better supporting cast. But no. You guys were sold on Russell Westbrook thinking it was going to work. You're sold on Anthony Davis and he's always injured. So, Lakers, you're pretty much getting what you asked for. You didn't want to give DeMar DeRozan a 3-year contract. This is what this all comes out to. You refused 3 years for DeMar DeRozan to get a guy that's injured and a guy that's been shooting bricks.
I still think the Lakers are a threat if they make the playoffs.
Definitely. You got LeBron. And you're going to fingers crossed that AD is healthy. Fingers crossed. You got Melo coming off the bench. You got Malik Monk playing amazing basketball. It's just LeBron. It's
mistakes, man. It's a lot of mistakes that's being made. When you look at the turnovers that Russell making, being the point guard, it destroys the rhythm that the team has. They can't get anything going.
No.
But I hope that because, in the playoffs, the game slows down. It becomes, a half-court game. And then when you're studying the same team, you're playing them over and over. You may have to play them up to 7 games. So I think if you have to deal with LeBron and AD and Melo and Russell in a 7-game series, it's not going to be so easy. I don't think you can just look at their record and feel like they're going to be a cakewalk. But they're going to have to make it into the play. They're going to make it in. And that's going to be tough. So I don't know, man. But I think the Lakers, hopefully they make it. If they do, I think they'll be a threat. But Frank Vogel I'm going to keep it real. LeBron is having an MVP caliber season. But in reality, the Lakers have no value. So LeBron, to me, can't be the most valuable player this season.
No. If I'm the Lakers for next season, I fire Frank Vogel. I trade Russell Westbrook to get somebody else. I trade Anthony Davis.
Thank you. This is why I rocks with you, Jay. Talk about it.
And get 2 players. I want 2 players that can give me something and stay that are not injury prone, that can play, that they don't have to give 20 and 10 a game. Between the 2, they can fill in the void of those 3 players.
Because Anthony Davis' numbers doesn't make any difference if he's not on a basketball court. Yeah, no. Absolutely right.
Why didn't the Lakers go for Jeremy Grant? Jeremy Grant could have helped.
That's true.
Maybe y'all will look at him for next year.
You're right.
Point guard wise, it's so many point guards that you could trade for. It's just
the Lakers don't have any draft value, so it's gonna be hard.
Kendrick Nunn. I loved you when you played for the Heat. You have not played 1 game yet, and we're 60 games in, probably, and you haven't played a game yet. And they keep saying, him. "Oh, you're getting healthy. You're getting healthy." You were a waste of a roster spot. We could have kept Darren Collison if that was the case.
So right now, as far as the MVP ladder goes in the NBA, NBA.com released their top 10 MVP candidates. So we're just going to look at the top 5, and you just let me know if you agree, disagree with the 5, and who do you think is going to really walk away with this? So we got Joel Embiid at number 1, Nikola Jokic number 2, Giannis at number 3, Jason Tatum from the Celtics at number 4, And we got Luka Doncic at number 5. Also, we got Ja Morant 6, Devin Booker 7, DeMar DeRozan number 8, Kevin Durant number 9, and Karl Anthony Towns rounds this off at number 10. Who do you think will probably walk away with this? Because I do like a lot of names. I agree with you. But who do you think is going to walk away with the MVP this year if they remain healthy, if everything remains how it's being played? Who you giving a nod to?
I'm kind of torn between Joker and Joel Embiid. I'm kind of torn between the two of them. The 76ers have a better record. Joel Embiid has been getting it done.
All right, man. Peace to my NBA family. It's your host, Seven Mitchell, with the Best of Seven Sports Talk. I just wanted to take this time out to say thank you to each and every one of you guys for so much support for the podcast. I hope you guys are really enjoying some of the outside-the-box angles we take, bringing you in these NBA storylines. Please don't forget to like and share. Most importantly, rate the podcast. You can follow us on social media. All the links will be in the description. And if you would like to contribute to the Best of Seven Sports Talk platform, we have merchandise available, as well as links for the merch, and donations will be all in the description. Once again, thank each and every one of you guys in the NBA community for supporting the show. This is Seven Mitchell with the Best of Seven Sports Talk. Let's talk some NBA action.
Joker's been getting it done, but he hasn't really had any help. So it's like, and then I gotta see, what is Joel Embiid gonna do for us playoffs? That would be my other concern.
But you know, this is a regular season award, though.
Okay, if we're going off the regular season, I would go Joel Embiid right now. I would go Joel Embiid. He's definitely deserving of it. You know, he stood toe to toe with Kevin Durant, barking back and forth, in a good back and forth game.
I think if they didn't have James Harden, win or lose, if he played well, Joel will probably still walk away with the MVP. But because they now have James Harden, if they don't play well with these last few games, I think it's going to go against Joel.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? When we talk about the MVP race, he may have been better off without James Harden than with James Harden, because people's going to put a little bit more pressure on him. I'm going to be honest. If they could finish the season off winning, maybe not losing anymore, and if he plays well, I wouldn't be surprised if Jason Tatum steals the MVP. He's been playing outstanding for Boston, especially the way they started this season.
Yeah. Because they were talking about like breaking him and Jaylen Brown up. And I'm like, I don't think that's the answer to it. Mm-hmm. I think they feed off each other pretty well. With whoever is the hot hand, they kind of keep going to that person. I think Jason Tatum's really coming to his own this year, offensively and defensively. You know, 50-point games, 40-point games. He's scoring better efficiently. He's not jacking as much.
Right.
He knows what it means to be the star and get the team the wins. He's understanding of that now. Ja Morant would have been nice, but he's been kind of, out the last few weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So
let me ask you about the person under Ja Morant on this list, because usually when you go back, when we talk about MVPs, it's usually the best player on the best record type of team that gets the nod. Yeah. Devin Booker, the Phoenix Suns have been number one pretty much all year. Devin Booker, you would probably have to argue he's the best player on the floor for them, especially with Chris Paul being hurt.
Yeah.
Devin is all the way down to number 7. Why do you think Devin Booker doesn't get the respect when we're talking about MVPs, being on the number 1 seeded team for the majority of the year?
He's not flashy. He's not arrogant. He's humble. He's quiet. He goes out. He does the job. And he's a silent assassin. That's what it is. Jokic to me is all of those things that you just named, and he got the MVP last year. But he's willing to mix it up on the floor too.
Okay. Like, so you don't think that Devin is tough enough? Devin
Booker go out there and elbow somebody or get in somebody's face. That's the thing. People want to paint Devin Booker as soft. I don't think that's the case. I think he just understands all the extra stuff doesn't benefit him as far as making it win games. and helping the team. So
Right.
I can trash talk. Then I'm going to go drain about 3-4 threes in your face. We're going to win the game. We're going to be number one. I'm going to continue playing in the playoffs while you're at home. I think that's more so his logic to it. KD's been balling since he's been back. But people are going to say, well, you've only had Kyrie by a certain amount of games. The mandate changed. I think Kyrie can play at home now.
Yeah, they played, I think, Kyrie's first eligible home game maybe tomorrow, I think. Or it's coming up. It's either the day tomorrow or, Monday. So Brooklyn is definitely going to be a threat. I am concerned about Miami because Miami was the number one seed, but it seems like they are collapsing right now.
They are collapsing. But, they said that they patched it up. Supposedly, Jimmy Butler says that he got mad because Udonis Haslem said he wouldn't be able to play how he's playing now in his era of playing. And then Jimmy Butler responded by saying, you guys were only relevant because you had D Wade.
That's a fact. And they wasn't even winning with D Wade. They were winning with LeBron.
Yeah.
D Wade was there for a long time and didn't, no playoff appearances, first round exits. What has D Wade done literally without Shaq and LeBron? And Jimmy Butler, no disrespect, because Udonis has been with Miami from the beginning, so he's a part of that culture. But Jimmy Butler brought winning back to Miami. They were just in the finals 2 years ago versus the Lakers.
Yeah.
So who's going to tell me that Udonis, even though he's the coach of Miami, who's going to tell me he's more valuable to this team when we talk about winning than Jimmy Butler at this point? And we watch Jimmy Butler's attitude when it comes to teammates from Minnesota to Chicago to Philadelphia. I think Jimmy ass is gone. He can say all the right things right now because they're still in the middle of a run. But what happened on that court in the middle of the game, man, that shit is going to revisit itself, I think, in the offseason. Jimmy going to be gone, man. Jimmy ain't dealing with that.
Yeah, you can't be challenging the coach because the coach tells you you're not.
Jimmy was wrong. But I just don't think that – I don't think that the disrespect that he got from Udonis and, having Eric Spoelstra, like, they got UD's back. Jimmy has no win in this situation. And for you to be the guy that pretty much helped bring these guys to relevancy, getting them in this number one seed so far, I don't think Jimmy going to take that shit lightly. It's like a situation that with Kevin Durant and Golden State, no matter what KD did, that was always going to be Steph's team.
Yep.
So, KD had to leave. And now Jimmy got to be looking at it like, man, no matter how much I win, y'all never going to look at me as that guy. I'm 10 times better than Udonis Haslem, but y'all put more respect on him than me because he's been there longer. So Jimmy probably be out the door.
I just think Jimmy Butler could have handled it differently. It shouldn't have been handled like that on the bench. That you and the coach are going back and forth and that he has to tell you to just shut up because you're going back and forth with him. It shouldn't be handled like that. I personally say he should have stayed in Minnesota. Him and Cat. And if y'all could have waited, and now y'all got Anthony Edwards and some of these other younger players, and y'all are playing very well, Jimmy should have stayed there. He should have waited it out. You got more respect, in my opinion, in Minnesota and in Chicago at a point than you going team to team now. They value Bam more than they value him. And I don't know if it's because Bam's younger and he's developing and he's getting it done on both ends of the floor, but it just seems like some of the younger players they value more than Jimmy Butler.
Because these guys can be controlled. Jimmy can't be controlled. You know what I'm saying? Jimmy will buy into your program, but when he start to see holes being poked in this shit, Jimmy don't stick around for that BS, man. He stuck around long enough in Chicago, man. Jimmy is trying to, control his own destiny, so to speak. The only problem is Jimmy Butler at this point is not good enough to lead a team to a championship by himself. He's going to need some help from another superstar. And the way things are carrying it, the way things are being played out, like you said, it's not a good look. And these other superstars are not going to want to pair up with Jimmy Butler.
No.
He may not never win the championship just because of that reason. But, a lot of blame to go around in that scenario. But I think at the end of the day, Jimmy ass ain't sticking around with that shit. He's gone.
Nah. Is he a free agent this year?
I'm not sure, but I just think he's going to fight his way out of that contract. Like we see how the NBA players do.
Trade. Yeah, I demand a trade with the draft happening. I demand a trade.
And you got to also take consideration. You look at Kyle Lowry, like he still look like he's in Toronto. Yeah. Like Miami just didn't get anything out of him so far this year. So I could see that relationship breaking up after this season. This might be Miami's last shot for a while to be real relevant. Tyler Hero's playing well. But, we got Brooklyn, we got Chicago getting better. We got Milwaukee, still in the mix. Philadelphia, there's a lot of good teams in the East. Boston, it's going to make it tough for Miami after this season, depending on what, moves are made.
Because everybody was saying that Miami doesn't want to play Brooklyn. It's not like Brooklyn's not a team that they want to play. Nope.
Especially if they got... I've liked Miami over Brooklyn, even when they had James Harden, because I had Lakers in Miami in the finals, because I felt like I'm questioning the defensive presence of Brooklyn. I feel like Miami is gritty, blue collar in a 7-game series. They going to play hard defense, so they going to have a chance. But you see that internal friction going on the sidelines, like this shit could cause a total collapse when it comes to the Miami Heat in the playoffs. The timing is just bad for this. Usually you have teammates fighting and fussing at the beginning of the year, and they use it as a driving moment, to motivate them to, higher heights. This shit came at the worst time.
Yeah, I watched a video of that, and I was just like, this is ridiculous. This is ridiculous.
Look what we done, because, Jay, we starting to see it a little bit too much. And we talking about professional basketball players. It's one, we always see players argue and fight, but teammates on the bench in the middle of the game, we just had Anthony Davis and Dwight Howard do this earlier this season.
Yeah.
You saw how LeBron and Isaiah Stewart, how they got into it, like how crazy that situation looked. Where they were opposite teams, but I don't know, man. I just feel like somebody's really going to get hurt because Udonis, man, he be acting like he forgetting where he at. Like he's a street dude, and you can tell when he gets upset, he just forgets that he's, in the damn arena. I remember him and Dwight Howard almost got into it a couple years ago. UD is one of those guys, but I wasn't jacking that.
You got to know how to set the tone with the team, but also remember the professionalism part of it.
Yes, and you got to know your personnel.
Your ass is not
going to fly. It's not going to fly.
Not on the court. You could have told him that in the
locker room. And you're talking to Jimmy Butler. He's not no pussy. Jimmy Butler be wanting that same smoke. You know what I mean? Not to say he is tough as UD, but that just was not going to end well. These guys got a lot of pride. And like I said, Jimmy has been the main reason one of the main reasons these guys have been relevant for the last couple of years. Not no damn Udonis Haslem. No. So, you know what I'm saying?
I mean, he may have helped for some of them post guys developing.
Yeah, but shit. Without Jimmy, you have to. Without Jimmy Butler coming to Miami, you're not going to the finals in 2020. You're not going to be the number 1 seed this season. Like your other pieces not even playing that well, and even on the court. So even though Jimmy is not a superstar, he's one of the biggest reasons why y'all relevant. I think they should have a little bit more respect in the public when they come to his name.
If you're Jimmy Butler and you can get a trade when the draft happens, who do you request to be traded to?
Jimmy is going to have to internally look himself in the mirror and figure out what he wants more. Because if he's going to request a trade, contracts and money need to be out the window. Your only focus should be winning. You will have to be willing to take a major pay cut depending on what your contract is, how many years is left. You might not have to take a pay cut because the team you get traded to will, pick up the contract. But if it's a free agency type of situation or a sign and trade type of situation, Jimmy might have to take less money to be put in a better situation and just be a part of supporting cast.
Could he go to the Lakers in place of maybe a Russell Westbrook and maybe another player and play with LeBron and AD? Would that work? Or
I
is
like
it Jimmy Butler's personality?
I don't think his personality would be a problem with LeBron and AD. Them guys need shooters. It just seems like everybody who is a shooter that gets around LeBron doesn't become a shooter anymore. Nope. And Jimmy is never, he can score, put up numbers, but I don't know. I like the thought of those three. I wouldn't sneeze at that.
Or what about him going to like a, not saying that the Bucks need him, but could he fit in with the Bucks?
They probably would have to get rid of Chris Middleton, but Jimmy and Giannis, I like that. That defensive presence, I like that. There's a couple places Jimmy could go to help, depending on, where he's positioned at. Jimmy's like that 3.
What about going to play with Luka?
In Dallas?
Yeah.
I don't, the thing about Luka, oddly enough, I think if Luka's going to get it done, he's going to get it done by himself. We always talk about you need 2 or 3 guys to win a championship nowadays, but it seemed to me in Dallas, Luka, if he does it, it's going to be done with him and some role players that know their job and are playing great basketball at that time. I don't think just because Luka gets another superstar or another star, it's going to, automatically put them closer to the Larry O'Brien trophy. Luka's a different type of animal. I think he could do it without the superstars. He just need his role players to play well.
Yeah, especially Dinwiddie has played amazing since he's been traded there.
And they got rid of Porzingis. That was
he's been playing really good for the Wizards.
He has, but just the issue that he had with Luka, the beef that they had, you know what I'm saying? Like that was a thing. And that just gives Luka more confirmation that this is your team, this is your franchise, we behind you 100%. Let's move on. So, like you say, Kristaps, he's playing good basketball in Washington. Luka still in the MVP conversations, looking to be the face of the league sooner or later. So, everybody pretty much got what they wanted.
Ooh, what about Jimmy Butler going to Atlanta with Trey and John Collins?
Well, he would need it. Trey would need it because Trey is going to be a superstar in Atlanta, but he'll never win anything without help. You know what I'm saying?
That would be an interesting situation, him going to Atlanta with Trey and John Collins.
Maybe he could keep Dame in Portland. You know what I'm saying? If Jimmy was to find his way in Portland, maybe they could help Dame stay in Portland.
That's a fact.
Like that. I think Dame going with Kawhi and Paul George, though. I swear. I think Dame is going to wind up in Philly. I mean, in the Clippers. I don't know.
I like it.
Last thing before we get up out of here, Jay, I appreciate you so much, man. Just real quick, any head coaches that you feel like, we already really talked about one, any head coaches you feel like is going to be losing their job at the end of the season, or do you have any picks of any coaches that's not currently in the game possibly getting a job next year?
As much as I like the Knicks, Tibbs, I don't know.
It's a wrap for Tibbs.
I don't know how much longer they're gonna give you with the Knicks. You got Julius Randle, the first year, he did well. He made All-Star. Y'all, I think, made the playoffs, but you didn't win. This year, he ain't really. It's been more so RJ Barrett taking the leap this year.
You got the Kemba Walker experience that went haywire. Like, that hasn't worked out.
Yeah, it's either Tibbs ends up jobless or y'all trade Julius Randle and y'all build around RJ Barrett, and that'd be your future. I like Julius Randle and RJ Barrett as a pair. He's definitely helped RJ Barrett's confidence skyrocket and him up in his game.
Right.
I love that part, but if I'm thinking long term with all these young players, that are not even maybe 23, 24, 25 to develop them, you may need to trade Julius Randle to get these guys to be able to play. So it's like, I don't know if Tibbs may be the coach for that one.
Okay.
That would be my concern.
What about Steve Nash over in Brooklyn?
Oh, he's 1 foot in, 1 foot out.
Okay.
They're saying that during the point of why wasn't he upset about the fact of Kyrie? You were cool about Kyrie being a part-time player, and that was the issue for James Harden. And you seemed fine with it. That's where the issue came. You haven't really said anything in regards to that.
Because he's a puppet. Steve Nash is a damn puppet for
If y'all don't do well this season, you may get to still be the coach next season to a point before you're fired. I don't think you got what it takes to be Brooklyn's coach.
Frank Vogel,
you gotta go. You gotta go. You gotta go. And it's like, who would really be the coach to come back and do it for the Lakers? Because they're going to ask LeBron about whoever y'all are considering.
Any chance you think Doc Rivers could lose his job in Philly if Harden and Joel underperforms in the playoffs?
I don't think it's going to be this year because you just got James Harden. I think that might be more so next year. I think it'll at least be a 2-year experiment. And then if at least by midpoint next year they're not 5,
Doc could be on the hot seat.
He's fired. He's fired.
Last name, Mark Jackson. We talk about this name every season. Will Mark Jackson find a head coaching position in the NBA next year?
Realistically speaking, I'm going to say no, but I think he should. Brooklyn might be a situation for him. Philadelphia could be a situation for him. Like, you saw what he did with the Warriors. Like, people don't want to give him credit for some of the success and development and stuff as far as the Warriors, but that's some of his doing. That's not all Steve Kerr's doing.
None of Steve Kerr's doing. Steve Kerr got that put in his lap. That's a fact. That's a fact.
And people want to make it seem like Mark Jackson did nothing for them. Steph wouldn't be what he is now. Clay wouldn't be what he is now.
Right.
He just needs a team to give him a chance. Brooklyn, I think, could be a good opportunity for him. I'm all for it. Gotcha. Steve Nash gets fired next year. Mark Jackson.
All right, people, we are out of here. Ms. J, let everybody know where they can follow you at and keep up with you on social media, man.
Talks with Jay on YouTube. Eccentric Soul on Twitter. You'll find me somewhere. I'm everywhere.
Talks with Jay, man. Make sure y'all subscribe to the YouTube channel. Make sure y'all support. Should be doing a thing consistently. Jay, I want to have you back on the show if possible. Either within the play-in week or right before the first round. I want us to do some predictions on one of the rounds. So I'll be tapping in with you, hopefully real soon so we can get back at it.
All right, let's do it.
All right, appreciate it.